Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel that is Nursing Tricks, and I hope you all are doing well and you have already watched. I hope that you have watched my last video in which I have given you the introduction of the pediatrics. And dear friends, if you are watching my channel for the first time, I request you to please subscribe my channel and hit the bell icon so that you get the notification from my channel whenever I am uploading my new videos. And dear friends, today the topic that I am going to discuss is the topic of where it is just very boring topic, but still from the point of, if you take it from the point of the your exam, then it is very important topic. Many a times they used to ask the questions from the national health programs, so I request you to please watch the video till end, because these type of questions can get you the good rank, because one or two questions they are responsible for just making you from 1 to 2. Okay, so I hope that you will like the video. And dear friends, again and again in my all videos I am requesting you that if you are facing any problem or if you have any doubt, please do comment. I will answer to your comments. And yes, we have already started off with a very important subject, that is pediatrics. And dear friends, if you have already you are just done with your bachelor's, that this lectures will help you in getting your entrance exam cleared. And yes, if you are the third year students, then definitely this lectures will help you in solving all your problems related to the pediatric nursing. So I hope I hope that you will share this link with all your friends, all your batchmates, and you will make them take the advantage of this particular channel. So starting off with this, so the today's topic is I am just going to discuss about the health programs that are related with the child welfare and what all programs are there in India. So basically we will be going to deal with the health programs in India. So dear friends, as we have already seen that the nation's children are its supreme asset. We all know this, and we know that their nurture and solicitude is the responsibility of the nation, and the needs of the children and our duties towards them have been expressed in the constitution. So the resolution of the national policy on education, which has been adopted by the parliament, it gives the direction to state policy on educational needs of children. And also India is also a signatory member to the United Nations and Declaration of the Rights of Children. And dear friends, definitely in my next video I will discuss 10 rights of the children with you, but this video will particularly focus on only and only on the health programs in India. And even if you are finding this PPTs, this things are very boring, just please watch this video till end, because these type of questions are the one who just will let you achieve your rank. Okay, so I am starting that the first program, the various programs that I am going to discuss today will be the National Health Policy Program, that came up in 2001, Universal Immunization Program, Child Survival and Safe Motherhood Program, also known as CSSM, and Reproductive and Child Health Program, the Diarrheal Disease Control Program, and the nutritional programs. So dear friends, during the pre-independence era, what happened, the situation of the public health was very precarious, and after independence the government of India recognized that the healthcare delivery system to provide the three-tier health services through a network of various national health programs. And these programs were launched to combat the health programs like the communicable diseases, environmental sanitation, population explosion, and the poor nutrition. So in 1951, dear friends, in 1951, India was the first country in the world In 1951, India was the first country in the world to launch a family planning program. Until 1977, the major health activity was family planning only, which was changed into the family welfare program, with maternal and child health becoming an integral part of the family planning program. So with the vision that reduction in the birth rate has direct relationship with the reduction in the infant and the child mortality, so various national health programs related to the child health and welfare came up into the existence, and I have already told you that which all programs we will be going to discuss in this particular video. Okay, so I am moving forward. So first is the National Health Policy, that is 2001. Dear friends, let me take a pen first. Okay, so this is National Health Program here, National Health Policy Program. So considering the health problems and circumstances, the department, so it was instituted, or it was just came because of the this Ministry of Health and Family Welfare felt necessity to formulate the National Health Policy 2001, so that the following which is written here, these goals can be achieved. So the goals are as follows. So the goals related to the child health to be achieved by 2001 to 2020 are: first is they want to eradicate the polio by 2005. So already the polio has been eradicated. Now next is the reduction in the infant mortality rate to 28 per thousand by 2020, and reduction in the maternal mortality rate to 100 per 1 lakh by 2020, and all the child health programs were directed towards achieving these particular goals. So to achieve these three goals, all the health programs were directed by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, so that they can achieve this goal which are related to the your child health. Okay, so I hope this slide is clear to you. I am moving forward. Okay, so now next program is the Universal Immunization Program. So Universal Immunization Program, so you know dear friends, the National Immunization Program is one of the largest and most successful national program. So the most successful program is the National Immunization Program, that is NIP. And the success of the program can be measured in terms of the reduction of, you have seen there is a great reduction in childhood morbidity and mortality, which is associated with diphtheria, pertussis, polio, measles, tuberculosis and tetanus. And this program was started in 1978. So dear friends, this program was started in 1978. Please do remember all the years, because they in entrance exams they are just asking the years only. Okay, so in 1978, so this program was started, and what happened, the name of this program in 1978, it was EPI, that is Expanded Program on Immunization. So it was not Universal Immunization Program. That time we used to call it as Expanded Program on Immunization, which is EPI, and it was launched with the objective of increasing immunization coverage in children below 2 years of age. So this expanded program on immunization, dear friends, it was launched with an objective to increase the immunization coverage in children below 2 years of age. So they were just focusing on the children below 2 years of age in 1978, and with 3 doses of DPT. So they were giving just 3 doses of DPT. We know the full form of DPT: diphtheria, pertussis and tetanus, and 1 dose of BCG. So many a times they used to ask, what is the full form of BCG? It is Bacillus calmette-guerin. Bacillus calmette and guerin. So 1 dose of BCG and 3 doses of DPT, and in pregnant women only 2 doses of TT. So this was the plan they have accepted in expanded program on immunization, which came into existence in 1978. Now oral polio vaccine was added to the program in 1979. So just next year only they have added this oral polio vaccine in the expanded program on immunization. And further in 1985, the objectives of the national immunization program were revised and it was renamed as Universal Immunization Program. I am repeating that in 1985 they have changed the name of this your expanded program on immunization to Universal Immunization Program. And the objectives, what objectives they want to attain is, they want to attain the universal immunization coverage of infants and pregnant women. So they want to universally cover the immunization of infants and the pregnant women. So this was their main objective. So dear friends, please do remember these 3 years. One is 1978, then again it was revised in the 1979, in which the oral polio vaccine was added. So if the question they are asking you in which year oral polio vaccine is added, so it is 1979. I am moving forward. And in 1985, dear friends, they have changed the name of this national or expanded program on immunization to the Universal Immunization Program. They have changed it to the Universal Immunization Program. They have changed the name of expanded program on immunization to the Universal Immunization Program, and their objective we have already seen. The objectives were they want to universally cover the infants immunization and the pregnant ladies immunization. Now dear friends, next is the measles vaccine was added in the program in 1985. So you can remember in 1985 again they have added the measles vaccine. So measles vaccine is added in 1985 and the program covered whole of India by 1919. So this program have covered entire population of India in 1990. I hope this much is clear to you. And this universal immunization program became a part of CSSM, that is Child Survival and Safe Motherhood Program, in 1992 and as a part of RCH program in 1997. So if they are asking you this question, in which year UIP became a part of CSSM, so dear friends, it is 1992. And if they are asking you in which year UIP become a part of RCH program, then it is your 1997. I hope this much is clear to you. Okay, I am moving forward. So next is your what is the national immunization schedule. So here on the screen you can see that I have already mentioned in first column. Let me take a pen. In first column you can see the age, and in second column you can see the vaccines given. The vaccines given. So in infants, if you will see the time of birth, we are giving Bacilli calmette-guerin, that is first dose BCG, or you can say 0 dose, and then OPV oral polio vaccine first dose and hepatitis birth dose. And in 6 weeks we are giving, then 10 weeks, 14, 9 to 12 months, 16 to 24, 5 to 6, 10 years, 16, and in the pregnant ladies. So we will discuss it very clearly. So in birth we have already seen we are giving BCG and we are giving OPV 0 dose, and we are also giving the hepatitis B birth dose. And at 6 weeks we are giving again OPV first dose, we are giving pentavalent first dose, rota vaccine rotavirus vaccine or RVV, it is in selected states and districts as per details it is given. And the fractional dose of IPV1, in place of OPV we are giving, and the pneumococcal conjugate vaccine we are giving to the infants. Then in 10 weeks we are giving OPV second dose, pentavalent second dose, and along with it we are giving rotavirus vaccines. Again you can see here in the footnote that it is written in selected states it is given. Rotavirus is given in Andhra Pradesh, Assam, Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh, Odisha, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, Tripura and Uttar Pradesh. While PCV, it is given pneumococcal conjugate vaccine, it is given in Bihar, Himachal Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, and also in Uttar Pradesh only in 12 districts it is given, and in Rajasthan only in the 9 districts it is being given. In 14 weeks, OPV third dose, pentavalent third dose, and fractional dose of IPV is given, that is second dose, and rotavirus vaccine third dose, and your pneumococcal conjugate vaccine second dose. Now in 9 to 12 months we are giving measles and rubella, MR first dose, and Japanese encephalitis is very common in the states, northeastern states like Assam, so it is usually given there, and PCV, booster dose of PCV is given in the 9 to 12 months. In 16 to 24 months, second dose of measles and rubella and second dose of Japanese encephalitis vaccine, diphtheria, pertussis and tetanus, DPT booster 1 and OPV booster we are giving, and 5 to 6 year DPT booster 2, and in 10 years tetanus toxoid TT, or you can say tetanus and adult diphtheria, that is TD, and in 16 years TT or TD it is given. And next is your pregnant ladies or in pregnant mother, TT or adult, TT or TD, tetanus and adult diphtheria or second or TT or TD booster it is given. So if you will just go through this, you will be able to know that in what all weeks, what all doses and what all things are being given. So I hope this much is clear to you. I am moving forward. So now this is the national immunization schedule for infants children. So this in previous we have just seen that what all vaccines are given in what all weeks and what all months, but here you will see the dose, route and site of that particular vaccine. So let's take a pen first. So here in first column you can see vaccine, when to give, the dose, route and the site. So here for pregnant women, you know, if you are giving the tetanus toxoid or tetanus and adult diphtheria 1 and it is given when to give, you have to give early in pregnancy, dose is 0.5 ml, IM you are giving and in the upper arm you are giving. And in second dose when you are giving 4 weeks after the TT first dose, again 0.5 ml IM you are giving and giving in the upper arm. Again then when you are giving the booster dose, if received the 2 TT doses in a pregnancy within the last 3 years, if a woman who has conceived in the last 3 years, then you will give the TT booster dose, that is 0.5 ml of the dose you will give, IM you will give and give to the upper arm. And now coming on to the infants, if you are giving BCG, it is given at birth or as early as possible till 1 year of age. So you can give it till 1 year of age, but if you are giving at birth, you will give 0.1 ml, and if you are giving after birth or till 1 year of age, then you can give 0.05 ml until 1 month age. Then ID you are giving and left upper arm is the site where you are giving. Hepatitis B birth dose, it is given at birth or as early as possible within 24 hours you need to give hepatitis B. Dose is 0.5 ml, you are giving intramuscular and you are giving in the anterior-lateral side of the mid-thigh. Then is OPV vaccine, that is 0 dose when you are giving at birth or as early as possible within the first 15 days. You are giving just 2 drops, orally you are giving, and site is also oral. And if you are giving OPV first, second and third dose Then at 6 weeks, 10 weeks and 14 weeks can be given till 5 years of age. Again 2 drops orally you are giving, and site again is it is oral. And when you are giving the pentavalent, then at 6 weeks, 10 weeks and 14 weeks can be given till 1 year of age. Dose is 0.5 ml. Route is intramuscular and you are giving anterior-lateral side of mid-thigh. Then when if you are giving the PCV or pneumococcal conjugate vaccine, 2 primary doses at 6 and 14 weeks followed by booster dose at 9 to 12 months, 0.5 ml IM you are giving and giving in the anterior lateral side of the mid thigh. Please go through this again and again because this will help you in marking the correct option of dose, route and the site, because already we have seen that which all vaccines are to be given in which all or what all weeks. So this table will just help you in remembering or just marking a correct option of dose, route and site. So moving forward, okay, so next is the rotavirus or RVV. You are giving it at 6 weeks, 10 weeks and 14 weeks and can be given till 1 year of age you can give, and you are giving the 3 ml and then orally you are giving, and route is also oral. If you are giving IPV, dear friends, 2 fractional doses at 6 and 14 weeks we are giving 0.1 ml. ID we are giving intradermal 2 fractional doses and the site is right upper arm. And if you are giving the measles, rubella, first dose, 9 completed months till 12 months you can give. Measles can be given till 5 years of age. Dear friends, this is a point to be just mark on. Measles can be given till 5 years of age, 0.5 ml dose, subcutaneously you are giving and giving in the right upper arm. Next is Japanese encephalitis. First dose you are giving in the 9 completed month till 12 months you can give, and the dose is 0.5 ml. Route is the subcutaneous and site is left upper arm. Next is vitamin A. First dose at 9 completed months with measles and rubella you can give, and you are giving 1 ml or 1 lakh consists of 1 ml is equal to 1 lakh international units. Orally you are giving. And now coming on to the children, if you are giving the diphtheria and pertussis, 16 to 24 months you can give 0.5 ml intramuscular and site is anterior lateral side of mid thigh. Okay, so this is next is MR or measles or rubella. Second dose if you are giving 16 to 24 months, 0.5 ml subcutaneous you have to give, and you have to give to right upper arm. OPV booster 16 to 24 months, 2 drops orally you have to give. Japanese encephalitis second dose 16 to 24 months, 0.5 ml subcutaneous and the site is left upper arm. And if you are giving vitamin A second to 9th dose, so total 9 doses we are giving. The first dose that you are giving is of 1 ml, and after that all the doses that you will give will be of 2 ml, and 1 ml we know consists of 1 lakh international unit. So 2 ml will be of 2 lakh international unit, and orally you have to give to the children. DPT booster 2 5 to 6 years, 0.5 ml IM upper arm, and TT or TD if you are giving till 10 years and till 16 years you can give 0.5 ml intramuscularly in the upper arm. So please go through this table again and again, and just you can just copy this table on A4 size paper and just paste it on your almirah or wall, and every early morning you should just see onto this table, and definitely after 10 to 14 days, dear friends, you will just remember all the doses, sites, and when these vaccines need to be given, you will remember all these things, and at the end you don't need to mug up these things. So I hope that you will follow my instructions. Okay, so I am moving forward. Now dear friends, this mission Indradhanush. So this mission Indradhanush, it was launched by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India on December 25th, 2014. So between 2009 and 2013, immunization coverage has increased from 61 to 65 percentage, but indicating only 1% increase in coverage every year. Okay. So what happened to accelerate? So why this particular program was launched? To accelerate the process of immunization by covering 5 percentage and more children every year. So they want this 1 percentage to increase up to 5 percentage. Okay, so that is why they have launched this mission Indradhanush, and if they are asking you the date is 25th December 2014, and it was launched to just accelerate the process of immunization by covering 5% and more children every year. And Indradhanush mission has been adopted to achieve target of full coverage by 2020. So this year we want the full coverage in this particular year. So I hope this is clear to you. Moving forward, so Mission Indradhanush phase 1, it was started as a week-long special intensified immunization drive from 7th April 2015. So actually it has started. If they will ask you the launching time, then you will write that 25th December 2014, and 7th April 2015 the first phase has started in 201 high focus district, and during this phase more than 75 lakh children were vaccinated. And the phase 2 of mission, it was launched to cover 352 districts in the country. And during this phase of Mission Indradhanush, 4 special drives of week-long duration were conducted. That was started from the October 2015. So this is phase 1, this is phase 2, and phase 3 of Mission Indradhanush, it was launched in the 7th April 2016, in which they wanted to cover 2016 districts. I hope this is clear to you. Moving forward, and phase 4, it is launched in 7th February 2017, covering the northeastern India or northeastern states of Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, Sikkim and Tripura. And these 4 phases of Mission Indradhanush have reached to more than 2.53 crore children. So you can just estimate the advantage, or you can just estimate the universal coverage that is made by this particular program. Okay, and they have not only covered your children, they have also covered 68 lakh pregnant women with saving life vaccines. Moving forward, now the following areas are targeted through the special immunization campaigns. So we just will go through these: urban slums, nomads, brick-kilns, construction sites and all, and areas with low routine immunization coverage is being covered with this, with vacant sub-centers, areas with missed routine immunization sessions. So these all are the areas that this special immunization campaign, this Indradhanush, has covered. Next is the National Health Mission. This is the third program that we are going to study. So this approach, the approach is to increase the access to the decentralized health system. And by establishing the decentralized means, centralized means when the instructions are given from your higher authority. When the instructions are given from the higher authority, that time we are calling it as a centralized approach. And when we are taking the things from the root level and then we are changing the things at the higher level, this type of approach is known as the decentralized approach. So the approach is to increase the access to the decentralized health system by establishing new infrastructure in deficient areas. So they have just changed the infrastructure, and the part of the plan process, they have involved the many different programs they have brought together under this overarching umbrella of NHM. So under the umbrella of NHM, you can just remember it like this. If this is an umbrella of NHM, if it is NHM, so they have covered under these 2 programs, that is National Rural Health Mission and National Urban Health Mission. So under this umbrella they have covered 2, NRHM and NUHM. I hope this is clear to you. Moving forward, So National Health Mission, it was approved in May 2013. You will remember this date. And the main programs component were included in this health system strengthening is rural and urban areas. And the important achievement of NHM has been considerable reduction in out of pocket expenses from 72%, dear friends, to 60%. Okay. So these are the major milestones so far we have seen. In 1992, in 1990, again it is wrong, it is written in 2005, 1997, 2005, then 2013, 2013, and then 2014. So first is the National Urban Health Mission. So we are studying this under the National Health Mission. So NUHM seeks to improve the health status of urban population. Obviously, when it is written in the heading itself, urban. So their mission is basically to cover the population of urban areas. And they have covered all the state capitals, district headquarters, and about 779 other cities with a population of 50,000 and above, as per the census of 2011. Okay. So cities and towns below 50,000, they were covered by the NRHM. So if you are residing in a city of more than 50,000 population, then you will be coming under the National Urban Health Mission. And if you are residing in an area of population less than 50,000, then dear friends, then you are coming under the NRHM. So the main focus of NUHM was on urban poor population, other vulnerable population like homeless people, rag pickers, street children, rickshaw pullers and all, public health thirst on sanitation, and strengthening the public health capacity of urban local bodies. So National Rural Health Mission, it was on 5th April 2005. The government of India launched this mission for a period of 7 years, that is 2005 to 2012, and recently it is extended. Dear friends, your NRHM has been extended up to 2020, and the mission seeks to improve the rural health care delivery system. So here you can see it is operational in the whole country, but the special focus is on the 18 states, and I have already mentioned those states here in my slide. And by making the necessary changes in the basic health care delivery system, the basic health care delivery system, they want to change them so that they can have the good health in aspect of nutrition, sanitation, hygiene, and safe drinking water. So this is the Rashtriya Bal Swasthya Karyakram, from survival to healthy survival. This RBSK was launched in February 2013, and it comes under the National Rural Health Mission, that is NRHM. And this initiative aims to screen and manage children from birth to 18 years. So it is very important here to see this. The main aim is to screen. They want to screen and they want to manage the children from birth to 18 years of age for defects at birth, deficiencies. So any of the D they can ask you: defects at birth, deficiencies, diseases, and developmental delays, including the disabilities. And there is a provision in the program that children of 0 to 6 years age group will be specifically managed at the DEIC level, that is District Early Intervention Center level, while for 6 to 18 years of age group, management of condition will be done through existing public health facilities. I hope this is clear to you. So first level of screening is being done at all delivery points, and outreach screening is being done by the dedicated mobile health teams. So this is not of much importance to you people. So this is the main programs that come under the National Health Mission, focusing on the newborns. So when we are just taking newborns, so these are the various programs. The programs are Janni Suraksha Yojana, IMNCI, Navjat Shishu Suraksha Karyakram, Janni Shishu Suraksha Karyakram, facility based newborn care, home based newborn care, Rashtriya Bal Swasthya Karyakram. So these are the various programs, and I have already mentioned the objectives. You can go through the objectives and the status of that particular program. Moving forward, so first is RMNCHA, that is reproductive maternal newborn child and adolescent health, so they have also included this. Plus A, you can see, is for the adolescent health strategy 2013. So the RMNCH plus A strategy, it is based on the provision of comprehensive care through the 5 pillars. So what all are the 5 pillars here? The 5 pillars are the reproductive, maternal, neonatal, child and adolescent health, and it is guided by the central tenets of equity, universal care, entitlement and the accountability. And the plus sign we have already seen, it is because they have included the adolescence for the first time as a distinct life stage, and they have linked the maternal and child health to the reproductive health, family planning, adolescent health, HIV, gender, preconception. So this plus sign, I hope if the question comes, this plus sign is for the, because they have also included the adult health in this particular thing. Next is this newborn and child care under RMNCH plus A. So the priority intervention for this is the home based newborn care and facility based care, IMNCI, child nutrition, immunization and early detection and management of defects at birth, deficiencies, diseases and disability in children of 0 to 18 years of age. This is India Newborn Action Plan, that is INAP. So these all programs are under the National Health Mission. Okay, so in India, Newborn Action Plan developed in response to global every newborn action plans, and it is launched in June 2014. Do remember, launched in June 2014, and it defines the latest evidence on effective interventions, and the goal is to attain the single digit neonatal mortality rate by 2030. So their main goal is that they want to achieve the single digit of your neonatal mortality rate and single digit stillbirth rate by 2030. Okay, so this is the its strength is to build on 6 pillars. So preconception, antenatal, care during labor, immediate newborn care, care of healthy. How they can achieve a single digit? By providing the care to all these beneficiaries. This is the new initiative, that is baby friendly hospital initiative, and since 1993 we know WHO efforts to improve the infant and young child nutrition have focused on promoting only breastfeeding. But it has been calculated that breastfeeding could prevent deaths of at least 1 million children a year. Very high number. So a new baby friendly hospital initiative, that is BFHI, created and promoted by WHO only, and UNICEF has proved highly successful in encouraging proper infant feeding practices. So starting itself from the birth. So this BFHI is supported by the major professional medical and nursing bodies, and the 10 steps which the hospital must fulfill so that they can be accredited as BFHI hospital. So this include they should have a written breastfeeding policy, and not only they should have a written breastfeeding policy, that written policy need to be communicated to all the healthcare staff, train all healthcare staff in skills necessary to implement this policy. Now if you have already pasted the policy, you have communicated the policy, and if you will not train the healthcare professionals in that particular policy, then that policy is of no use. And you have to inform all the pregnant women time to time about the benefits and management of breastfeeding. Help mothers initiate the breastfeeding with 1 hour of birth, and show mother how to breastfeed and maintain lactation. It is just demonstrating and re-demonstrating, even if they should be separated from their infants. Need to give newborn infants no food, no drink other than breast milk, not even sips of water, and practice rooming in, encourage breastfeeding and give no artificial teats, and foster the establishment of breastfeeding support groups and refer mothers to them on discharge from the hospital or the clinic. So this was about the baby friendly hospital initiative. Next comes your child survival and safe motherhood program, that is CSSM program, launched in or started in 1992 to 93, and it was launched to it is an attempt to expand the focus of government of India from immunization to wider gang of child survival and safe motherhood intervention. And the objectives here you can see is to reduce IMR, that is infant mortality rate, below 60 per 1000 live births, and childhood mortality below 10 per 1000 children. And they want to reduce the maternal mortality, that is why it is known as the child survival and safe motherhood program. And their main aim is to, they want to reduce the maternal mortality below 2 per 100 live births. These were the strategies they have attained to obtain the objectives. So, essential newborn care, immunization, management of diarrhea, management of acute respiratory infections, vitamin A prophylaxis. And in the safe motherhood interventions, they have included immunization of pregnant ladies, prevention and treatment of anemia, antenatal care, delivery by trained personnel, promotion of institutional deliveries, management of obstetric emergencies, and the birth spacing. These are the strategies, these objectives they have attained. So strategies for achieving these objectives were establishment of the FRUs, training of the TABs, that is traditional birth attendants, and sub centers were equipped with the drugs and equipment, so that if the women and the children, if they are approaching to the first referral units, they should have something in that particular unit. So the training health professional in essential obstetric and newborn care, emphasis on information, education and communication, and the program yielded notable success in improving the health status of the pregnant women. Moving forward. Next is the RCH program, very important. The government of India during 1978 to 98 launched the RCH program for implementation during the 9th plan period of this year, integrating CSSM, and the program was formally launched on 15th of October 1997. It was launched, and the RCH program has 4 components. The 4 components are family planning, child survival and safe motherhood, client approach to healthcare, prevention management of RTIs, STDs and AIDS. So these are the 4 components this RCH package, or the reproductive and child health package, gives to you. So what all are the main interventions they have adopted for the maternal health? This is essential obstetric cares, emergency obstetric care, referral transport, MTPs, that is medical termination of pregnancies, 24 hours delivery services at PHCs and CHCs, prevention, management and control of reproductive tract infections, training of traditional birth attendants, and RCH camps. So these all interventions they have adopted for the maternal health. And for the child health, they have adopted universal immunization program, which we have already seen, control of acute respiratory tract infections. Very commonly, this respiratory tract infection is a major cause of infant mortality rate. So they have taken into consideration this particular area. And essential newborn care, ORT therapies, oral rehydration therapies, if the newborn is suffering from diarrhea, prevention and control of vitamin A deficiencies, and exclusive breastfeeding and weaning, which we have already seen in the baby hospital friendly initiative program. And this RCH program, it is based on differential approach. So they in category A they have covered 58 districts, category B 184, and category C 265 districts. So this RCH phase 1, so the interventions in all districts they have given is CSSM program interventions like immunization, vitamin A prophylaxis, safe motherhood interventions, implementation of target free approach, and high quality training at all levels. IEC activities, that is information, education and communication activities, special RCH packages for urban slums and tribal areas, district sub projects, RTI STD clinics they have made, facility for safe abortions and PHCs, enhanced community participation through panchayats, NGOs and women's groups, and adolescent health and reproductive hygiene. And in selected states, the intervention they have selected as screening, treatment of RTI and STD, emergency obstetric care, essential obstetric care, additional ANMs they have given to the sub-centers, improved delivery services, facility of referral transport for the pregnant woman during emergency to the nearest referral center. Now coming on to the RCH phase 2. So RCH phase 2, it began in 1st April 2005, and the focus of this phase is to reduce the maternal and child morbidity and mortality. And the strategies under this particular phase are the essential obstetric care, institutional delivery, skilled attendance at the delivery, in emergency, operationalizing first referral unit, PHC, CHCs, and they have strengthened the referral systems. Next is the Janni Shishu Suraksha Karyakram, that is JSSK. So the government of India launched this JSSK on 1st June 2011. Again and again I am requesting you all that if you are preparing from any entrance exam, for any entrance exam, please do remember their launching dates and launching years. A new national initiative was launched, which is Janni Shishu Suraksha Karyakram, and this initiative provides the facilities to the pregnant woman. And what all facilities are they? All the pregnant women delivering in the public health institutions, they should have absolutely free and no expense delivery, even if they are undergoing the CS, that is cesarean section. The entitlements include free drugs and consumables, free diet for up to 3 days, free diagnostics, and this initiative would also provide free transport for home to institution. And similarly, entitlements have been put in place for all sick newborns and assessing public health institution for treatment till 30 days after the birth. And the child health components in this is the strategies for child health care aims to reduce the under 5 mortality rate through interventions at every level of service. Next is they have made the nutritional rehabilitation centers, and this nutritional rehabilitation centers are the facility based units providing medical and nutritional care to the severely acute malnutrition, that is SAM children under 5 years of age who have medical complications. And the services provided at the nutritional rehabilitation centers are 24-hour care and monitoring of child, treatment of medical complication, therapeutic feeding, sensory stimulation, emotional care, counseling on appropriate feed, care and hygiene, and demonstration and practice by doing on preparation of energy dense food using locally available, culturally acceptable and affordable food items. Next is IMNCI. This IMNCI strategy is one of the main intervention under RCH2, or you can call it as NRHM. The pre-service IMNCI has been accepted as an important strategy to scale up the IMNCI by Government of India. And facility based IMNCI is the integration of the facility based care package with the IMNCI package, and it focuses on improving appropriate inpatient management of the major causes of neonatal and childhood mortality. Facility based newborn care is also there, which is this has been set up at various district hospitals and stabilization units at CHCs, and newborn care of all facilities offering delivery facilities, and is thus a key activity in the facility based newborn care. So this newborn care corner is the space within the delivery room. It is made in the health facility where immediate care is provided to all the newborn at the birth. Newborn stabilization units or stabilization units we have, it requires space of only 4 bedded units and 2 bedded in postnatal ward for rooming in. As of March 2014, 1737 newborn stabilization units are functional in our country. Special newborn care unit, so these are the neonatal unit in the vicinity of the labor room which provides the special. I am just running through these slides because these are not of much importance to you. We need to just remember the dates and what all are the objectives with which all these programs were launched and what all are the targets that they have already accomplished. That is why I am just running through these slides. And the criteria for admission to NBSU is mentioned here. So moving forward to the home based newborn care, it is not of much importance to us. Moving forward, so next is Navjat Shishu Suraksha Karyakram. It is the program, it is aimed to train the health professionals or personnel in basic newborn care and the resuscitation. That is why this NSSK was launched. Last is the National Diarrheal Disease Control Program, and this is launched by WHO, and the program of WHO, it is launched in 1978, and the main objective and the goal was they want to reduce the diarrheal mortality in children less than 5 years of age by 70% up to 2000 AD, and improvement in water and sanitation facilities. And the strategies of this diarrheal control program is they want to improve the case management, which includes early use of oral rehydration therapy and acute diarrhea and appropriate feeding during illness and recovery. And mentioned here, these are all the this is the strategies of the diarrheal control program. Last is your nutritional programs in India. So we have many nutritional programs running in India. They are vitamin A prophylaxis against nutritional anemia, iodine deficiency disorder control program, special nutrition program, Balwadi nutrition program, ICDS program, midday meal program. So first is vitamin A prophylaxis program. We know this program includes the administration of a single dose of vitamin A containing 2 lakh international unit orally to all children under 5 years of age every 6 months. So we have already seen in universal immunization program that we are giving at 9 months along with MR, we are giving 1 lakh international unit, or you can say it 1 ml to the child, and once you have given with the 1 ml frequent, then after 6 months then you will be giving the 2 ml or 2 international unit, 2 lakh international unit to the child. This program was launched by Ministry of Health and Family Welfare in 1970. This is prophylaxis second program under the nutritional programs, prophylaxis against the nutritional anemia, and this program is launched for prevention of nutritional anemia. And this particular program consists of distribution. In this program we are just distributing iron and folic acid tablets to the pregnant women and to the young children up to 1 to 12 years of age. Next is control of iodine deficiency disorder. This is so iodine deficiency is the world's single and most significant cause of preventable brain damage. So we know that because of iodine deficiency the child may land up into the brain damage and mental retardation. So the prevalence of goiter in India, we have seen it is 21.1%. So the objective with which this program was launched is they want to decrease this particular incidence. So in 1984 the policy of universal salt iodization was launched, and in 1992 this program was renamed as National Iodine Deficiency Disorder Control Program. So the program aimed to decrease the overall iodine deficiency disorder or IDD prevalence to less than 5% in school children between 6 to 12 years of age. So the activities taken under this program are surveys. They have done lots of surveys. They have given iodized salts, laboratory monitoring they have done, health education, and the publicity they have done. Special nutrition program. So this program was launched in 1970, and the supplementary food supplies were given. About 300 kilocalories of these things are given, 10 to 12 gram of proteins per child per day, and the beneficiary mothers receive daily 500 kilocalories and 25 grams of the protein. And this supplement is provided to them for about 300 days in a year, and the main aim of this program is to improve the nutritional status of the target groups. Balwadi nutrition program. So this program was started in 1970 so that we can just benefit the children in the age group of 3 to 6 years, and it is implemented through the Balwadis, which also provides pre-primary education to these children, and the food supplements which gives 300 kilocalories and 10 grams of protein per child per day. And this program is under the change of Ministry of School Social Welfare. ICDS started in 1975, and this program includes supplementary nutrition, vitamin A prophylaxis, and iron and folic acid tablets, and the beneficiaries of this program are preschool children, adolescent girls, pregnant ladies, and the lactating mothers. Midday meal program launched in 1961. These are the guidelines for preparing the midday meal preparation. That is, meal should be supplement and not a substitute. The meal should supply at least one third of the total energy and half of the protein needed. The cost of meal should be low. Meal should be easy to prepare. Locally available food should be used to reduce the cost of meal, and menu should be frequently changed. An example of model menu is in on your screen. You can see the what all things you can include in making the midday meals. Last is the 20-point program. So in addition to the 5-year plan programs in 1975, the government of India initiated a special activity. This was 20-point program described as an agenda for national action to promote social justice and economic growth. And at least 8 of the 20-point programs, they are directly or indirectly, they are related to the child health, and these are they are related to the health. So these are point 1, attack on rural poverty, clean drinking water. Point 8 is health for all, 9 is two child norm, 10 is expansion of education, 14 is housing for the people, 15 improvement of slums, 17 protection of the environment. So the restructured 20-point program constitutes the charter for the country's socio-economic development, and it has been described as the cutting edge of the plan for the poor. So only and only we have seen 8 points out of 20 points are for the health, are related to health. So dear friends, today we have just covered very boring topic, but still if you will go through this lecture, definitely you will not mark the wrong answer to the question if it comes from the national health programs. No one will just teach you this national health programs, and I have taken this initiative to teach you this national health programs. I request you all, please do watch this video till end, and it is very important if you want to just get a rank, a good rank from the others, so that these all things, or these all topics are the ones which makes the difference. Okay, so the students are just reading the important topics and they are just leaving behind these type of topics, and if the question comes, then you are just dropping down from 1 to 2. So please do go through these lectures, and yes, if you are facing some problem, I am always here. Please do comment, and in my next lecture I will be going with I will tell you the various national health policies. These were the national health programs. I will discuss the national health policies with you, and I hope that you will like this lecture, and if you have any problem, please do comment. So with this, I am just signing off. Thank you so much.